let's start by talking about Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, their form, how much of that test drought is going to affect their ODI run.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't think you ever want to be in a situation with champion players where you get rid of them too soon. And you've got the Champions Trophy coming up, and that's quite an important thing, right? So we completely understand that. Rohit's form, if we believe that this is the end, looks like it's come very quickly for him, right? Sometimes that happens. To me, I'm a little bit more skeptical that that is the case, that suddenly there's no form here at all. Virat averaged 72 at a run a ball in ODI cricket last year. If all of his problems are being caught in the cordon, how many slip fielders are England going to have for him in an ODI game with the white ball, right? So I kind of feel that there's no reason to make any huge decisions on Virat. And with Rohit, I think you have to give not even just the benefit of the doubt, but also you have to be, when a player's form has dropped so massively in such a short period of time, I think you have to be thinking as a selector or a manager or, coach, whatever that may be, more along the lines of, well, the situation here is that he might have just got into bad form and it's looking worse because he's old, right? And I think if that's the case, I think they need to make those decisions. But I don't know. Where is your head at with these two guys at the moment?
It looks interesting because ahead of the Champions Trophy and considering ODI form per se, India is not expected, Indian selectors are not expected to take any knee jerk reactions. Had it been a test series, things probably with
Yeah.
World Test Championship out of sight would have changed dramatically, drastically, but not really for the Champions Trophy. Because you brought up this point, Virat's dismissals, and because it is such a hot topic at the moment. Now, left arm spinners, we've seen Virat struggle against those. There was a point of time when he was really thriving against that variety. And now Corden has been Virat's issue for the longest time. 2014, he struggled massively against James Anderson. But then 2018, visiting the same country, looked fairly comfortable, scored truckloads of runs. So kind of made a comeback as far as that sort of dismissal is concerned. What is exactly ailing him now? We all know what the issue is. Virat knows it better than any of us. Yet the same thing is happening. He changed his stance a bit as well, tweaked it. He is to negate the swing. He has tried to come in front of the crease as well, fairly well. So how do you see that changing, and what exactly is ailing Virat?
No, I mean, essentially, he doesn't like to leave the ball, and teams are bowling wide to him in a way that eventually he's going to get an edge. And, in this sort of wobble ball era, the pace playing pandemic, almost got that out, pace playing pandemic, everyone's nicking more than they ever have before, right? Like the averages have come way down against seam bowling. So at the moment, there's probably only two options. One is he stops trying to play everything with a straight bat. And when it is really wide, he starts trying to just slash it away and just say, okay, well, I'm just going to take every boundary as it comes available to me. And the other option is to go defensive and to leave the ball. It doesn't look like he has that within his game. So if we look at one-day cricket, as you said, no one's really played any one-day cricket since the last World Cup. It's actually kind of hilarious. We have a Champions Trophy coming up and no one's played any one-day cricket. At least it's in the subcontinent again. So you certainly have the elements of the pitches being similar. So everyone should understand what they're doing. But that suggests to me that he's not about to nick off a whole bunch of times in the Champions Trophy, right? So I would probably be leaning towards the fact that he has made a kabillion runs in ODI cricket. And, I think he's played 3 ODIs this year and hasn't made any runs, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. As I said, last year it was 72. 2022, he averaged 27. And 2021, he's averaged in the 40s. So while his test average has dropped, his ODI average has not, right? Certainly not a sort of consistent rate. So I think you go with him. And then if you look at Rohit Sharma, again, 3 ODIs this year, there's not much to go on there. Last year in ODI cricket, he was averaging over 50. Having said that, earlier this year, he was making a lot of runs in test cricket.
Yeah.
So, if you look at the way they were both hitting the ball in the T20 World Cup, unless you think that Rohit has dropped off a cliff since then, I'm not particularly that worried about it. But what do you think India will do? It seems like a big decision to make. Like, who is the person who drops both of them meaning that they have to replace the captain and they have to replace the biggest star player right now. Like, Ajit Agarkar's not going to make that decision. Gautam Gambhir, I find it hard to make that he will make that decision because of where he currently is within the setup and everything else. Is Jay Shah going to get on the phone? It looks like he's off creating a super league on the side at the moment, right? So, who's the person who's going to make that call?